and most of us, the vast majority of us, would have given up after the first no. Everybody else would have given up after the second no. But there's a very select few out there who can continue and maintain that drive and that passion, that purpose for what they do. So I want to kind of take things back a little bit, because I don't think I've even gotten to talk to you in however many years. It's been a long time. What year did you end up graduating?
High school in 19.
19, okay. So you would have been right around, were you in Derek's class then?
I was 1 year below
1 year
him.
below,
Yeah,
okay. I knew it was somewhere around there, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So since 2019, you said you've only been bodybuilding the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And you've already become you're a pro level in NPC, correct?
I'm pro in OCB, and
OCB,
then next goal is
NCP.
trying to get,
Okay.
NPC.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how has this bodybuilding journey looked? What got you into the gym originally? What got you into discipline specifically of bodybuilding? And what drives you on this path?
Oh, gosh. So that definitely, it's kind of a long story. So long story short, younger, throughout middle school, high school, everything, I played competitive softball. Travel teams, summer league, all the things, always. My dad was my coach. We did everything together, trained together. The goal was always to play in college. So come time, playing, talking to coaches. I had some schools that I was looking at, and I had one in particular, went to OU, oh yeah, wanted to play there. The coach that was there, her name was Jody Hermanic, amazing woman. Ended up leaving the school, going to coach for another school. I still had the passion, the dream to play for OU, but with a new coaching change your senior year, that's big. Difficult. So I was still trying to get in there, and so I was just working my butt off, training, getting ready that senior year, trying to talk to the coaches, everything. Turns out didn't quite happen that first year, so I was like, okay, I'll take the year. I started in my pre-nursing program, and I was like, okay, I'm going to come back next year. I'm going to try again next year. So spent the year. That year, turns out COVID actually hit my freshman year of college. Yeah. But I started getting into the gym basically for softball, like training for softball. I was like, if I can get stronger, get a little bit better, come back next year, we'll play. COVID happens. Yeah. Nobody was doing anything at that point. Yeah. So took the summer, I was working, and nothing was open. So I got this little free Planet Fitness membership, and before work, I started going to Planet Fitness, and I just lift before I worked, go to work, go home, repeat next day. So that whole summer got into just basic training. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I'm going to lift some weights, get strong, I don't know, do something during COVID. So then we came back the next year. Again, didn't quite happen, got that no again. So I was like, dang, okay, 2 years. I'm like, I had 2 years left. I can transfer, I could go try to play somewhere else. I could try it again. I'm already 2 years into like my nursing program. Like, what do I really want to do? I'm like, nah, I'm gonna train harder. I'm gonna come back next year. I might get it next year. So we did. So I kept working, kept training, lifting, all the things again. Came back again. Got that no one more time. I'm like, dang, okay, 3 years in, it's my junior year of college, right? So I'm like, I still want to play. I'm like, at this point, I haven't played. I miss playing. So I joined the club softball team that was there so I could get some playing in. Met some awesome people. Made some connections there. Again, same thing, different day, right? Still had that itch. I was like, nah, that was the goal. I wanted to play in college, okay? So that summer before my senior year, I actually didn't take completely off work, but I took pretty significantly off work that summer. I said, Dad, I was like, okay, you've been my coach forever, right? We're going to do this. I'm like, I don't care what it takes. We're going to do it, and I'm going to get that yes this year. So we took that whole summer from the day I stopped school until the day I went back to school, and we trained. I would lift in the morning. I'd go to the track. I'd do conditioning. I'd run over at the high school. I'd just run on the track, go over to the gym, go home and eat. And then the minute he'd get home from work, we'd go to the field. We'd go train. We'd hit, pitch, field, whatever the case may be. So I was doing like 2, almost 3 days, most days, that whole summer. Best summer ever. Yeah. Best summer ever. Most fun I've had, and literally all we did was work. And I think that summer really was where it kind of turned from, okay, I'm just lifting to, okay, I've got a goal here and I really enjoy this. Yeah. So get back to school, right? 4 years in a row, all no's. I was like, dang. I'm like, I really thought I had it this year, you know? So I played club again, and, you know, there was that disappointment, right? Because you're like, dang, I really worked really hard for this. Like, I was really hoping it's 1 year, like 1 year, you know? Didn't quite happen. But to be honest, I'm really glad it didn't happen, because there's no way that I would have ended up doing what I'm doing now without it. So that's kind of how we got into the lifting aspect. So once I graduated, obviously I hadn't played like softball. I ended up getting a job up here in Columbus as a nurse. So I moved up here. To me, that was really big for me, because I've always been really anxious and stuff, really stressed about moving away from home, right? So that was like a big move for me. Joined a gym, my home gym right now, Spark Society. Love them. And that's where I met all kinds of people. I started meeting some pro bodybuilders. Never really knew much about bodybuilding, so I was like, okay, what you're doing is pretty cool. I thought about competing in powerlifting there for a while. Had a couple back injuries, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to
because I don't think I don't think people realize how strong you are too. Oh. You were throwing around, what was it, the 125s you had in the gym the other day?
Yeah, actually, for the first time, I picked up the 140s the other day.
And that's like 140 pounds in each hand.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that. Yeah, and you were doing was it split squats you were doing with them?
I did the 120s for Bulgarians, and then I pulled out the 140s for some RDLs the other day.
That is crazy. Yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
So that whole story, like, I get so much from that. And I want to take it back a little bit to explain this to people. You had a dream of playing college softball.
Absolutely.
And you were as committed and more than anybody could possibly be to that dream. And you get 1 no, you get 2 no's, you get 3 no's, you get 4 no's. Not only that, but you have all sorts of unbelievably unforeseen circumstance in there. Your coach leaves. You have COVID in there, which was the biggest curveball any of us could ever have possibly, well, none of us could have even imagined it, you know. It just changed the fabric of everything for a few years. And yet you still stay committed and driven to this one mission. And most of us, the vast majority of us, would have given up after the first no. Everybody else would have given up after the second no. But there's a very select few out there who can continue and maintain that drive and that passion, that purpose for what they do. And you get to that summer right before your senior year where you talk about you basically take the summer off work so that you can train more or less full time and putting in 2 a days, 3 a days, and working that hard, that dedicated, and that committed to it. And yet you still look back and say that was like the best summer ever.
Oh yeah.
And I agree. I've had moments in my life similarly where when you were just like singularly purpose driven on one focus, one goal. That is like everything you're doing. Those are some of the very best times in life. It's hard to match that kind of feeling. And yet you work every day for months on end like that, and you still get that 4th no. What is it that keeps you driven and keeps you working to the point that it seems like the no's almost motivated you to work even harder? What keeps you driven in that pursuit? And beyond that, how do you keep those no's from, I mean, I'm sure they were crushing, but how do you keep them from totally derailing you and pushing you to just give up on what it is you're chasing?
Yeah. Oh, that's hard to answer, because I feel like there's not necessarily one thing that keeps me going. We like to say in bodybuilding, if your why is strong, the how is easy. So it's all about your why, right? I don't necessarily think you have to have one. I think you can have multiple. Some of the things through all the no's that kind of kept me going, one was just the love of the sport. I just loved what I was doing. And the more I was doing it, the more I loved it. Looking back, some other aspects were too, my dad, again, was my coach. And that time we spent together, was awesome. That was amazing. That was some of the best times that we had together, some of the best memories. We videoed. I forgot about that until right now. We videoed everything we were doing. I had so much training content. But looking back, like the funny videos, the bloopers of the two of us just enjoying, having fun, like that was another thing. Like I wanted to make my dad proud. He had worked just as hard as I did. Everybody that was supporting me, it wasn't just my win, it was their win, that kind of stuff. Now that I've gotten a little bit older too, one of those things, you want to be the inspiration for others that you wish you would have had. So growing up and stuff, I've always had more of a muscular build. I've had biceps, you know, genetics, love it. I've had biceps forever. Kind of got teased a little bit for it growing up, but I always wanted somebody to be like, oh, I look like them. Oh, like I can do that too, right? So if I can be that for somebody else, now looking back, I'm like, you keep going. Somebody's watching you. You don't know who's watching you. Somebody's watching you. So if I give up now, what's that telling them? What's that showing my little cousin who's 10 years old, right? I want to be the person that I say I'm going to be. What I say I'm going to do, I want to follow through on that. So it's more of an internal and external. So external being obviously the wins, right? Obviously being like everybody else supporting me, winning for them, all of us together. But also the internal of you love it. You want to do it. You want to be who you say you're going to be.
I love that you say that. That's been one of our core tenets and our messages of this platform is the meaning of life is creating the person you admire most and giving that to the world. You know, it sounds like that's exactly your mindset.
I love that.
And going back to that summer with your dad, when you told that story, because I have a daughter now myself, she's 2 years old. And when you told that story, I was like, that is like the ultimate dream for any dad. Like, especially a dad who has a daughter, like getting to spend that kind of time. I would love to hear that story from your father's perspective as well, because I bet that is just one of his most cherished memories in life. And what's cool about it is, even though you got the no, I know you've said you look back on it, I'm sure he would as well, as one of the best summers of your life.
Absolutely.
And so it just is a perfectly clear demonstration that the outcome is, yes, a strong, powerful driving reason behind the why of what we do. But almost every single time when you look back and reflect, it was never the outcome. It was always the work. That's why our message is so much being impossible, not so much doing the impossible. Yes, those moments of victory are unbelievable, as I'm sure you know and we'll get into. But it's always going back and looking at the work, the process, what you struggled through, what you suffered through, what you overcame, what that teaches you about yourself. That is where so much of the magic comes through, the lessons, what you learn about your own ability to achieve. That's where all the greatest moments in life are.